Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Leah, and this is another episode of And I Should Care Because, the podcast where we talk about higher ed, policy changes, and all the things, and I help you navigate those changes one news story at a time. As always, make sure you look at the description box. There's always a link for the story that inspired the topic of the day, and sometimes I post other resources or goodies, so don't miss out on that. Make sure that you look at the news story. See what it is that I'm talking about. It may not be, I don't just reiterate the news article. I kind of make it more relevant to you. But read the news article. Become a learned individual. Read for yourself. Come to your own conclusions. Have your own perspectives. That's what I'm encouraging you to do by sharing mine. So, today's topic, we're talking about picking a major. And the inspiration for that, unfortunately, came from an article that could really just make you be like, man, why try? I'm going to bed. See you in 10 years. So, lots of college graduates are not using their degree. So, they're working in a field that is completely unrelated to what they majored in. And financial struggle bus. A lot of folks are living paycheck to paycheck, at or below the poverty line, and that can be really disheartening and discouraging because especially if you're in school or you're applying to school and you're like, wait a minute, so I'm spending all this time and money on what? To not use any of the information that I learned in school? That seems smart. And the truth is, that's not 100% true. There are transferable skills from every major, from every field of study that you can use everywhere else. So there are some skills and things being used. But to feel like, you went through all of that academic rigor just to go and do something completely different, it feels like, man, why am I doing this? Why should I even go to school, or why should I even finish and have this financial burden when I'm not even going to use what I'm learning? So instead of harping on that, I think what we really need to focus our attention on is how do we avoid spending our time on something that we don't really want to do? And I think the answer to that is being thoughtful. Be thoughtful early on. So if you are applying to college or just starting college, this is the perfect time to be thoughtful. If you're a little bit further in, even if you're a junior or senior, you're about to graduate, you can still take time to be thoughtful to set yourself up for the next step. Now, I'm not going to lie, it might be a little bit harder to change fields if you finna graduate, because you just want to graduate and stop being school. Like, I get it. Everything about life is school, school, school. So that might be a little bit harder, but it's possible. The first step is figuring out what it is that you want to do and who it is that you want to be. We always emphasize choosing a major. It's a very big decision. Some schools have, declaration day or, something like that. For some schools, you choose your major second semester, freshman year. Some schools you choose first semester, sophomore year. But we make it a big deal, but we don't really give the best guidance on how to choose a major. So I'm going to try to help you with that today. Instead of thinking about, I want to major in blah, think about what it is that you want to do. Think about what gives you joy. What are you passionate about? What are some things that you would like to try? Make a list. Make a vision board. Something, so that you have all of these things around you. And I'm a very visual person. So that's why having a list or a vision board really helps me. But maybe you're a voice note type of person. You could just kind of rattle off the dome, like, and record it, what it is that you're thinking about. And then you go back and listen to it and say, oh, yeah, some kind of record of what it is that you're thinking so that you can go back to it. You can make changes, but something that helps you focus your thoughts and kind of just get everything out there to start with. It might be a little bit rambly, and that's okay. From there, you want to choose a major that allows you to get the academic foundation and the hands-on experiences that you need to explore all those areas. So maybe you see that your interests lie, in STEM or in social sciences or humanities. Whatever it is, that's one step closer to choosing a major. So once you figure out kind of what realm you want to be in, or maybe you want to have a foot in two realms, right? Maybe you want to mix worlds. You want to have a major and a minor. That's okay too. That's beautiful, perfect, great. Interdisciplinary stuff is wonderful. But you need to know what it is that you're interested in and passionate about. What is it that you think that you could get up every day for the rest of your life and be like, yep, this was the best decision ever. You may not know exactly what that is, but you need to get started on the path of discovery. So, once you have all of this laid out and you have an idea of kind of what realms you want to explore, then you start looking at majors and minors. Which combination of things would give you the most exposure and experience to the things you think will be best for you moving forward? Now, all along the way, input from mentors, input from your academic advisor, whomever, is very helpful. But sometimes there's input from people that is not helpful. And sometimes those people can be your family, they can be your friends, they can be your academic advisor and your mentor, okay? Mentors are not perfect. Families aren't perfect. And sometimes other people try to put limitations on you because they can't see what you see. And I think about my kids, when I say, oh, you can't do that, you're not tall enough, you can't reach that. And then they go find a step stool and do it. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess you could do it. You had a plan that I didn't see. And I just looked at you where you are now and decided for you that you couldn't. But you knew what you needed to get from where you were to where you wanted to be. So don't let other people discourage you because they don't have the same vision that you do. Now, you do need to stay grounded, but grounded is different from being told no and having someone place limitations on you. Or having someone say, if you don't major in this, that, or the third, then you're cut off. I'm not paying for this. If you don't go pre-med or pre-law, then I'm not paying for college. That's strong, and that's putting some real limitations on you. And it's forcing you to choose between doing something for someone else, if that's not your heart's desire, or finding a way to do it on your own and potentially being shunned by your family. That's a big deal. So we don't think about all of the implications that choosing a major really has on our lives. It goes much beyond just what your degree says, when you graduate. And it can influence family relations, your friendships, all of the things. But you need to explore and figure out what it is that gives you joy. What it is that you have a fire for. Because if you're going to do something and stay in a field for the rest of your life, or at least for a decent portion. Let's be honest, people change fields all the time. And it's from exposure to certain things that makes you think, you know what, maybe I want to sidestep and do this other thing over here instead. Perfectly fine. But you need to start by looking at what it is that you enjoy and you have, kind of a natural knack for. Those are the places that you can, get ideas to try. You don't have to stay there. You may learn something new about yourself. You may learn that there's this thing that's really challenging to you, but it's invigorating. You're like, I need to know this. I need to learn this. I want to be in this field. That's great. But you have to get started somewhere, which is why I encourage you to start with what you know. Make a list or something. Talk about it. And then make sure that there's some kind of alignment between what you enjoy and what you're pursuing academically. Because if what you're pursuing academically kills your soul, you're not going to be able to stick with it. And it's going to do so much more damage than good. So really be thoughtful about what it is that you want to do and who it is that you want to be. Because all of these classes and all of this information, these experiences, shape who you are. And that's a really big deal. So don't subject yourself to pain or hurt. Don't subject yourself to things that kill the joy and the happiness inside of you if you don't have to. Find the things that give you peace, that give you calmness, that give you joy, that bring you happiness, that allow you to be your best self. Those are the things that we need to pursue. And the idea that your career is separate from everything else in life is a falsehood. Everything is tied together. And if you're angry about your job, you hate your job, then that is going to bleed over into your relationships. It's going to bleed over in all of the things that you do. That bitterness is not going to stay in one compartment. It is going to eke out and get onto everything. And you don't want to live that life. You don't want to be 10 years out from having your degree and realize that you've hated every moment from the second you started job X. That is a terrible place to be in. So really thoughtfully consider who it is you want to be, what it is you want to do, and what will give you joy and allow you to be your best self. Those are the ways that you can keep yourself sane and give yourself the best chance for success. We're going to stop it here. We could talk about this all day. I'm saying I'm talking right now. You might be talking too, but I can't hear you. But you know how I could hear you? Leave a comment. Talk to me about your own experiences with picking a major. About, did you have pressure from family or friends to go a certain path? Was it a path that you wanted to go on, or was it completely different from what your heart really wanted? How did you deal with it? Are you still dealing with it? What advice do you have for someone else in that same position? So share your comments. I always read them. They're always very important to me because they influence, my perspective in terms of what could be useful to you. So make sure that you're active in the community and that you share. The more that you share, the more I can help. Because that's the goal of this whole podcast, is to help you be your best self. If you really like this content, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends and family. And as always, make it a great day. Sometimes the news can be a real Debbie Downer, okay? But there's always a silver lining. You just have to look for it. And hopefully, that's what we found today. Make it a great one, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye.